Hi everyone, welcome back to Keystone IAS Academy for our daily editorial analysis. Today we are covering 4 important articles, all crucial for both prelims and mains. So let's start. Our first article deals with an important legal debate. A case has reached the Supreme Court where a woman has been accused of penetrative sexual assault under POCSO Act. So the question is, can women be prosecuted under this law, or is POCSO meant only for male offenders? Is the question here. So before we get into the debate, here's a quick background on POCSO. So POCSO was enacted in 2012 because India had no dedicated law to deal with child sexual abuse. So earlier such cases were handled under the IPC, Indian Penal Code, which had serious gaps. So many acts were not even defined as offences. So what POCSO changed? POCSO changed that by defining what is child sexual offences. It defined very clearly, introducing gender neutral protection for all children under 18, allowing child-friendly procedures in police stations and courts, setting strict timelines for investigation and trial. So the basic intent of POCSO is very simple: protect children comprehensively irrespective of gender. Okay, this is what the brief background on POCSO. Now coming back to the article. So here you can see the previous year practice question on National Child Policy, which is also care for the child provisions. Yeah, coming to the article, it clearly explains that POCSO is gender neutral and applies to all perpetrators, not just men. This is what the article is saying. What the argument came, actually POCSO is only favoring to men, not against women. So what the article is explaining, no, POCSO is gender neutral. How? And we can see a few supporting points are given in the article. The first one is Section 3 covers many forms of penetration, example digital, object, oral, coercive acts, etc. So these acts can be committed by anyone, right, including women. So coming to the second provision, Section 13(1) of POCSO says the word he. He automatically includes she unless the law specifies otherwise. This is one more provision which is concluding the statement that POCSO is gender neutral. Coming to the next one, which is legislative intent. The Ministry of Women and Child Development has repeatedly said in Parliament that POCSO is a gender neutral act. Okay, so the next one, what is the purpose of the law? Child sexual abuse is not always male against female. Women can be perpetrators too. So a gender specific reading would deny justice to some victims. So what is the key takeaway? POCSO is gender neutral for both victims and perpetrators, which actually strengthens child protection. So what we can take from this article is the supporting points that POCSO is gender neutral. So please note out the point with sections. This will be helpful for writing answers. So coming to the practice question here, the POCSO Act is gender neutral both in its text and in its purpose. Discuss with reference to recent judicial judgments. So I can practice the answer and post them in our Telegram group for review. Our next article takes us into science and biotechnology, which is a very important article. Today, most diseases, especially genetic and lifestyle diseases, are treated symptomatically. Yet, you get medicines to control symptoms, not cure the root cause. So precision biotherapeutics changes this. It treats the cause of the disease, not the symptoms. So it directly comes under GS paper 3, science and technology, biotechnology. So let's see this precision biotherapeutics in detail. Yeah. So precision biotherapeutics, what is that? It treats, as I already said, it treats the cause of the disease, not the symptom. So what does it use? It uses genetic and molecular profiling, CRISPR gene editing, mRNA therapies, monoclonal antibodies, AI-driven drug discovery. All these are already we have studied in our basics, which are the applications of biotechnology, which is the advancement. So with all these technologies, a new method came to treat the root cause of the disease, which is called precision biotherapeutics. Okay, this is what the article is saying. And why does India urgently need this? Because 65% of all deaths in India now come from non-communicable diseases, which are diabetes, heart disease, cancer, etc. So, and India's massive genetic diversity means a drug developed abroad may not work the same way in India. So we already have strong initiatives like Genome India and Indigen. So Indian companies are also active like Biocon Biologics, Immunil Therapeutics, Bugworks, 4Base Care, ImmunoAct. These are this ImmunoAct is the India's first CAR T therapy developed. So etc. So all these Indian companies are very active in this genome technology. So what are the challenges we have to face here? Let's see. There are no clear regulation. Extremely costly therapies are there. These gene therapies are. So limited local manufacturing. Even though Indian companies are manufacturing, there are still very limited companies are there. So genetic data privacy concerns are there. So these are the few challenges which we have to notice to bring this precision biotherapeutics in practice. But the global precision medicine market is booming, expected to cross $22 billion. Okay. Yes, one more thing. This precision biotherapeutics under the is part of Bio E3 policy, which is India's Bio 3 policy. What is that? Biotechnology for economy, environment and employment policy. So it is one of the 6 priority areas which India is focusing. So what is Bio E3? It aims to promote advanced biotech R&D, develop affordable biologics and precision drugs, build domestic manufacturing capacity and create high quality biotech jobs. So this creates a strong platform for India to become a global precision medicine hub. Okay. So here is the practice question. How can precision biotherapeutics transform India's fight against non-communicable diseases? Discuss the opportunities and challenges involved. So it's a quite direct question. You can write the points whichever we discussed directly from the article. Okay. Next article. The last final 2 articles discuss the same, which is DPDP rules. What is that? Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2025. So let's look at the combined picture of these 2 articles. Okay. So these rules activate the Data Protection Board of India and operationalize the Data Protection Act. So what is now we are focusing, which is newly released rules 2025. Here you can see the context that similarly the 2 articles are talking about the same context. So what is that? DPDP Act 2023 and its newly released rules 2025. So we are expected to operationalize India's long awaited privacy regime, but according to the article, according to both articles almost, the rules undermine transparency. How? It dilute the RTA Act, weaken privacy enforcement and delay real protections for citizens is what the article is arguing. So let's see this in detail. Here are the few previous year questions which are directly related to right to privacy, which is asked multiple times in previous year questions. So it's a very important topic to look into. Yeah. Let's see what is the problem. As I already said in the context, protections for citizens are delayed until 2027. But the RTA amendment is implemented immediately. So let's simplify. What does this DPDP require from companies? Data fiduciaries. Companies, who are they? Companies are data fiduciaries. What DPDP insists? Companies should take informed consent, protect user data, allow deletion and correction, delete inactive or old data, report data breaches. So users, data principals get the right to correct or erase their data. So there will also be concern manager, like a universal permissions dashboard, like that. Then these are the provisions which are mentioned in the DPDP rules. Then what's the issue? This data protection board is very big. It is under the IT ministry, the same ministry that works closely with the big techs. So there is a conflict of interest, as the article says. The second one is there is a very long compliance window, means companies get up to 18 months. So real protection is delayed. The main issue, another main issue is RTA is diluted immediately. Earlier, personal information could be disclosed if it served public interest. Now the exception is removed. So this means more RTA requests can be denied. Social audits may be blocked. Official misconduct may be harder to expose. By the way, the transparency will suffer according to the article. This is what the main argument is placed in both the articles. What is the main argument? The RTA is diluted. How? Your personal information could be disclosed if it served public interest. Now there is an exception for this. This exception is removed. Also, the groups like MKSS, Pioneers of RTA Movement, this is one group that strongly oppose this change. So they say it undermines public accountability. So in summary, citizen privacy protections are delayed and government transparency is reduced. This is what the article argues about DPDP rules. So it's a very important thing. So this is the second article which is related to the same DPDP rules 2025. Again, the same thing is argued in this article too. It is explained DPDP in detail, and then the quoted that RTA Act amendment in as a challenge is in the challenges point. Here it is detailing mentioning what is DPDP rules and who are data fiduciaries, who are data principals, and what fiduciaries must do. This is what already we discussed. What they should take informed consent, provides clear summary of data, all those things. There is a concern managers, all those things. So are these requirements active now? No. Why? There is a long compliance window and amendment to RTA Act. This is very controversial now, as it had to what government could refuse personal information but had to disclose it if public interest outweighed privacy. What DPDP Act did, it removed the public interest clause itself. So this weakens the transparency, progress in transparency. So this is the organization which opposes this RTA amendment. This here you can see Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangatham. So coming to the practice question, the both article argued the same thing. So the practice question also have the same theme here. The Digital Personal Data Protection Rules 2025 have been criticized for undermining privacy and weakening transparency mechanisms discussed.